Well, at least I'm more on time. Sorry about that, everyone. Thought I had everything ready, and then I didn't have everything ready. Boy, am I going to be so happy when I no longer have to deal with a very certain thing that's going on. It's fine. I have just a lot of work that I need to continue to do every single day, but it's fine. Welcome to the stream, everyone. I'm your host, Isaac MCCanary. We're back to drawing again. Sorry for taking a little bit of a break from this. I don't remember what happened last Wednesday, actually. What was... I think Wednesday, I was, like, doing catch-up for something, and I don't remember why. Oh, I just ended up starting super late. And I was playing Elden Ring. And then I just didn't have the energy, I think, to do a drawing stream. Which should not be the case. I think I'm fine. Like, Elden Ring be damned, but then again, Elden Ring can just go to damn. Welcome to the stream. We're gonna draw some more. I'm thinking I drew something. I drew something that I haven't drawn in a really I drew like a Pachycephalosaurus kind of. I asked somebody what their favorite dinosaur was. They were like Pachycephalosaurus. I was like, I know that one. I know a lot of dinosaurs. I'm a nerd. But I haven't done a Pachycephalosaur in a long time. In a long, long time. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I do think that would be a lot of fun. I don't know what I'm going to start with, but I have some ideas. And mainly, one of the things I want to get better at is using skeletons as a reference and then just kind of still doing keeping it as a reference but doing more freehand, doing more reference work for proportions and everything, and keeping it more in line to something that I want to keep consistent. And one of the things I definitely want to get better at, that I think I struggle with sometimes, is shaping things correctly. Keeping the shapes more consistent. That's the eye socket. I do find it interesting. This shows like a really big ocular cavity, but I don't know why they would have such a big eye. I honestly do not know why Pachycephalosaurs would have such a big eye. And this is something I want to like get a little bit more consistent at and a little bit better at. Making sure that I actually get shapes a little bit more precise and consistent. But yeah, I've been actually dealing with some crud. Not from my own fault, though. It's just some crud that I've been dealing with, in which I have to do a lot. I don't think I've mentioned this at all, even on stream. I've been having to systematically port everything over to YouTube because Twitch has made some changes. I don't know how much I could talk about this. I haven't heard anybody talk about it. I haven't heard anybody talk about their stream. It's just a lot of work. I just want to admit that. It's a lot of fucking work. I mentioned it off stream. I've mentioned it on Discord and stuff. So if you're on those places, you probably have heard me at least mention it there. It's just a lot of work. It's been constant work. And it's a nightmare. I've found that there are some pretty nasty limitations that unfortunately both platforms apply to users. And it's just becoming a problem. I have to export thousands of hours of content, and YouTube will only let me do like 100 a day. And that's coming in conflict with the content I'm still putting out at the same time. So that's just something to run into. That's getting on my nerves, honestly, more than anything else. The main reason why I bring it up is because it's just kind of like, ugh. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. I'm trying to do the responsible thing here. You're putting me in an awkward situation and being like, well, you shouldn't have done that. And then not making it necessarily any easier to save all the shit. Hey, that's what I'm dealing with right now, which is why I'm a little aggro about it. Because it has been putting me behind, too. I'm like, falling behind on things because of it. But hey, at least we're drawing again. I'm happy that we're drawing again. This is something that I'm glad about. I haven't drawn. Well, I did a shit ton. Honestly, I did a shit ton of drawing. I haven't drawn for a couple days. I've been a little bit busy. I was kind of planning on maybe trying to squeeze in a drawing stream, I think, last week, but I just ended up crashing out, I think, honestly. I just ended up crashing out, which was unfortunate. Just was like, I can't want to play Monster Hunter. Was mainly what it was. And I mean, like, it's hard. Like, it's hard. I mean, it was already brought up today in Elden Ring that I was like, man, could be playing this. What's funny is, I was like, I don't know what to draw today, actually. I don't really know what I want to draw. I think I'll draw, I do want to draw a dinosaur. I do want to draw a dinosaur. I haven't drawn a Pachycephalosaur in a long time. I haven't drawn a Pachycephalosaur in a long time. And then, like, I was getting dinner ready. I was making dinner. I was getting ready. And then it just dawned on me at the last second. And I was like, damn it! I should draw my Monster Hunter. It's one of the things I always do whenever I have when a new Monster Hunter comes out. I always draw, like, my current Monster Hunter armor. Though, to be fair, right now my current Monster Hunter armor is just Nursula armor, so I would just literally be drawing Nursula armor. So I probably would base it on the Conga armor first. Or just draw Nursula armor for fun. One of the two. Wait a second. That's cheating. He isn't even drawing the whole dinosaur. He's drawing it a profile. Yeah. I mean, I want to do more perspective-y stuff anyways. And I like this perspective, actually. This was something I was cooking up in my head a little bit, that I was like, I want to do something a little bit different. And I like it. I like it where this one's going. Like I said, I want to try to keep it a little bit more perspective-y overall. Keep shapiness. Ahoy! Hello! Stella Kitsune. Hello, Stella. Welcome. I will probably do Monster Hunter. I probably will do some Monster Hunter next for a while. Because I do enjoy doing fan art, and Monster Hunter is one of my favorite, and I have not done an actual Monster Hunter themed illustration in a long, long, long time. Like, Monster Hunter is one of my inspirations, and I love it. I love the creature design in it, and I love the character design in it, and I love designing characters in Monster Hunter. and I've always liked the character design that I made in Monster Hunter. So, and I feel like this one came out pretty good, and I was having some thoughts about it. And I was like, I'd probably have him doing like a sick jump as an insect glaive or something. But it's too late. I was resolved to draw a dinosaur, and I was like, well, I guess I'm drawing a dinosaur today. Because that is something I kind of am eternally a little bit. I'm a little bit um in a bind with myself. I want to do too many things. Oh, yes, another Monster Hunter fellow. Yes. I want to do too many things. But I also know that I need to be consistent. I do want to be consistent for my dinosaurs. That's one thing. I have nothing else. If I can never think of what to draw, I will draw a dinosaur. That is something I want to do. And I do want to grow that. I want to be like, hey, here's a larger body of my work. A lot of it is dinosaur illustrations, science illustrations, etc. But I want to draw too many different things. I just do. Sometimes I forget what all those things are. Which is a constant battle for me. It's like, I want to do too many things. There are too many things to do. You're currently drawing a Fakeamon? Oh, nice. I've done a couple Fakeamon. I did some Fakeamon with a friend of the stream, Mr. John J. A great guy. I really enjoyed doing that with him. He was a good sport, and I had never done Fakeamon before. Actually, I've played Pokemon. I like Pokemon well enough, but never actually done Fakeamon. So I appreciate him giving me the opportunity to do that. And then fairly recently, I did my first live content. I was in Chicago. I was in Chicago. You might have seen, if you're out there, you saw me in Chicago drawing weirdos. I was at a convention for Magic the Gathering, and I was drawing weirdos. I was just drawing weirdos. And I had a great time. I honestly did. I'm so glad I was given that opportunity. I hope I can do it again this year, later this year, at least once more time this year. I hope I can do it. I hope I can do it a couple more times than just that, but you know, start hopeful, I guess. And it was good. It was a good time. Pokemon is based on Skilla. Why do I know what Skilla is. Why can't I think of what Skilla is? It's not a monster, is it? No, it's not a monster. What is Skilla? Why can't I think of Skilla? I have no idea what that is. Trying. I've heard of Skilla. Why does that sound familiar? Oh, right. Ursula. Oh. Okay. Was she was she Hades too? I don't actually remember. That sounds familiar. I will say my most recent Greek literacy is because of Hades, but Hades is a good game, so can't really blame it. Hades is a good game, so it they did their homework. I know marginally more about Greek mythology because of Hades than I did before. Now to be fair, also did have an I've always liked Greek mythology overall. I genuinely have. So that hope that's right. It's not quite doing exactly what I want it to, but I can work with that. He's from Kid Icarus Uprising. Well, fair enough. Well, I do highly recommend. I mean, like, I'm sure if you haven't, I'm sure you've heard of it. Heard plenty of it. If you have an interest in Greek mythology, Hades is really really good. It certainly has one of my favorite interpretations. The only other Greek the only other Greek knowledge I have is from the very wonderful uh overly sarcastic productions. Everybody should go check them out if you have an interest in just kind of world culture in general, like especially like a lot of mythology and a lot of old religion. They've covered Greek religion, myth. They've covered Norse religion, myth, Eastern, Western, and they've just got a good sense of humor behind them. Red is fantastic. Blue's good too. Honestly, I need to go back and rewatch some Blue stuff. I don't. Unfortunately, he didn't gel with me immediately as well, but I did listen to more of his history stuff, and he gets better. So sorry, Blue. Red's just really good. Red is really good though. She does a fantastic job, and um, yeah, she covers a lot of Greek mythology and a lot of mythology in general, and like old tales and stuff like that in a really fun, entertaining way. And she has an interpretation covering of the relationship between Persephone and Hades that also is reinforced by Hades, the video game, that is like really, really good. And yeah, yeah, it made me realize that, oh wow, we thought that Hades was the asshole, but really Hades just kind of got a bad deal, and actually he and his wife are honestly pretty good as far as the quality of relationships are going inside of the Greek pantheon. They've actually got a pretty good mutual relationship, surprisingly, given the context. Even oh yeah, Skill is a boss in Hades too. She's one of my favorite. What's wrong with me? She's like my favorite boss in Hades too. She's great. What's wrong with me? Skill is in Hades too. Yeah, and Hades had to do the most work. Yes, yes it did. Highly recommend it though. I'm excited for the sequel. The first game is fantastic. I really enjoyed what I played at the second game. It's not fully released though, and I only played it as far as beating, quote unquote, beating a full run. I know there was a lot more to test. There was a lot more that I hadn't even tried. There was an entire. Essentially, it's fascinating. I get the impression that it is doing that fun thing that I haven't seen a game do in a long time, where it feels like it has multiple games in it, where you beat like one portion of the game, which is like the main game, and then there's just more game. Though I do think that kind of thing hasn't really happened for a long time. The last example I can think of it happening, and I don't think it's the last example at all, it's just the last time I remember this happening, was actually Ghost Recon? Ghost Recon was weird. You would like beat the game, and then there's just a second campaign right after it. Like, and then it was like a surprise, and it was treated as like a hey, there's actually two games in your one game. Like I feel like that used to be more of a thing. Um, Not really, and I suddenly can't think of any other examples that have done it. But um, I do feel like Ghost Recon is probably the quote unquote best example of that I can think of that did that. But I could tell that like I hadn't even touched I hadn't even touched some of the content in Hades 2. Like the entire the entirety of the second half of the the overworld, and that's all I'll say if you have no context and want no spoilers. Like there's a lot. So you'll be working on a webcomic based around mythology. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's actually really cool. Make sure to get my girl Artemis in there. Make sure she's just a badass. Make sure that she just doesn't give a fuck. Make sure she just don't give a fuck. Artemis? Goddess of the hunt. Of the hunt. Yeah, she's a bow girl. I think it's. Did I say Artemis's name wrong? Well, good. That reassures me that I did in fact say her name correctly. Make sure to get Jonah Ark in there, the original magical girl. It's canon. It happened in Madoka Maguka, so. Mashojo Maguka Maduka. That's the one. I actually do not know the full name for Monica Magica. I have not seen Monica in a long time. I need to rewatch it. It was one of my first, and it is one of my favorites of all time. Madoka Maguka. It was like Madoka. It was Cowboy Bebop, Evangelion, and then Angel Beats were my first genuine three that I was exposed to. Not to say that I didn't see any anime growing up, but those were the three that I watched first when I was being actually introduced by my friends to anime to be like, here are the best that I've seen. I have to admit, it was a pretty good start for me, honestly. It's really informed what I like about the genre. What I like about the medium. Sorry. Correction. Medium. Like, I watched Dragon Ball and stuff when I was a kid, but eh, is more gory and suggestive side of that. So it's only half of Madoka Maguka. Fair enough. Hmm. I have no idea what Heavenly Delusion is. Sorry. Always remember, there is too much media in the world. I have not seen all of it. I will never see all of it. I will try, and I will die, failing, as every human has, trying to see everything in the world. That sounds dope. I wish you luck. Currently, I'm working on this. Working on growing up, just my artwork with this. I'm working on. I actually have a video in the works that I am almost finished with. I just need to have like one or two more sit downs. I'm at the conclusion phase of my editing, where I am working now on just polishing a couple things. My friends gave me actually some very, very good tips on what could be changed in the video, and they're very good tips, and I'll change those parts, and then I'll make my outro for it, and then hopefully have that out soon, which will be nice. That'll be very, very good. Ah, on the Rainbow Serpent. Wait, from Maiden Abyss? To which I have seen the first season of that, and I really, really enjoyed it. I have not seen second season or the movie, like the Bridger movie that's supposed to be new content that bridges season two to season one. I have heard unfortunate things with my friends about season two, but we are very mission critical, so don't take that as like a because actually, the interesting thing I've heard about season two is it's been more of a mixed bag. Like they've liked some things about season two that have been really, really good, and some things about season two I don't really, really like. Mainly, the impression I get based on what they've told me is that it's just changed. direction. It's like changed direction on what it's going for, and I can't possibly know what that could mean in context to that show since it was already going in some ways. So if they do end up like if they've ultimately changed like the scope away from like the more like kind of like Lovecraft Eldritch horror they had going on, that's a shame. Or if they just take in a direction that's like too extreme too. It could go either way. I could see it going either way, where they just change it entirely and it's different, or they take it in a different form of horror that's just not as much fun for us. So, but I haven't seen it, so I can't make that much more of an opinion of it. Do something like just start nobbling it. A bit more. Just gonna like that. Ah. Oh, that's cool. Wow, Lilith can't catch a break. She had it rough in Ava. Give her a break. Ooh, I like that actually. Yeah, something like that. Here, just gonna kind of do stuff like that. A little bit there, a little bit more there. The toes are being a little bit annoying for me right now. I'm just not feeling. I'm not feeling toes right now. Fuck. My earlier VOD was about feet. I can't say it twice. What if well, I'm not saying it twice. I'm saying like it's not about feet no more. No longer about the toes. Ooh. Oh, that is cool. I mean, I do like me a good xenomorph. I was designing at one point an alien antagonist for a video game a long time ago. That I definitely pulled a lot of inspiration from the xenomorph. That was an attempt for me and one of my friends to try to experiment in an engine, and we really at the time I had read At the Mountains of Madness, and it was just so inspiring. I really like it, like a lot, and I would love to still try to do something like that because I love that the At the Mountains of Madness is about a scientist. So is that a dinosaur in your pants? You're just happy to. It's going good. Hi, Silos. I mean, I feel like I'm enjoying this a lot more than Elden Ring, so. Oh, nice. So you gotta have you have to have an arty. You have to have an arty. Bow Girl is a no-brainer. And you can also work in some inspiration there. I do think if I highly recommend again like you need inspiration if you don't, this is of course just like hypothetical. Um Maguka Madoka is good inspiration for that kind of thing. It is the poster child of taking sweet innocent magical girl and doing something more horror, more cerebral with it. So, uh, highly recommend it if you have not seen it. If you have, just make something based on Kyoko. I'll be happy. I'm good. Better. Was a little tilted about Elden Ring, but just am tired. I'm just pretty worn out on that game, and I think everybody knows it. I think at this point it's not a secret. I'm very worn out of Elden Ring. Elden Ring is done. I'm done with it. Like, I'm gonna finish it, but I definitely am tired of playing it. Take a break. It's 50. It's one of those cases of like, I would take a break from it, but I'm so close to finishing it. I just want it to be done. Just like right there. What's funny is, and maybe we do go back to Valheim, take a break from it for a bit. I just beat I just beat, Radon. So hopefully. I don't know. I'll probably do one or two more, and if I really need a break, I will take a break from it. If I get like super tilted next time, I'll be like, okay, fine, no more. No more for a little bit. I just literally need to do something else. This is why I kind of suffer a little bit where I get it. I kind of get it. Like, it's really difficult. It's really bad for retention to be like constantly switching subjects, but for whatever reason I just can't stick with a subject that long. I will go insane. I will go crazy. I will lose my mind. I would rather be doing something that I know I can continue doing healthily than try to force myself to continue doing something and just get burnt out on it anyways. Like, I'm not the Elden Ring guy. I'm not even the Monster Hunter guy. I'm barely even the dinosaur guy. I'm just a guy who has way too many interests. Really, it's what I actually am. I just want to do everything. Uh-huh. I mean, that would be nice. Let's see. More like that. I haven't really taken on too much writing recently. I was playing a tabletop game with friends at one point, but unfortunately that has kind of gone on hiatus because we've been just busy, 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 week after week after week after week, which is not anyone's fault either, I don't think. Like, we've all just genuinely been a little bit inundated and a little bit overwhelmed by this year. This year can go to hell. Last year could go to hell, and this year could also go to hell with it. Nice. It sounds like you have a lot of good material for your manga. For your manga. I've been working on design bibles for a lot of things for a really, really long time, so I understand having a really good, diverse design bible can be really, really nice. Trying like that, maybe? Oh, Hydrate Bot. I can pay attention. Thank you, Hydrate Bot. Need water. I didn't drink enough water earlier either. I am trying to get better about that. I am trying to get better about drinking water. I am pretty bad about it still. Trying to get this shaped correct. Shapiness is something I want to get much, much better at with my illustration. I want to get my shapiness down. Uh-huh. Oh, if you have no idea. Stella, if you have no idea, so many. Zeus couldn't be paid to stop having children. Hera couldn't pay Zeus to stop having children with other people. Uh-huh. I mean, that's always a fun... Once you start getting into, like, Greek pantheon stuff, it's just fun to be like, and then half of the children were Zeus's. And not Hera's. Yeah, no, Zeus was a bastard man. Zeus could not hold himself back. He probably should have. A lot more. Uh-huh. He does understand how to turn into a bull, though. He does know how to turn on... He does understand how to turn to a cow. That was, like, his favorite escape method, was to just turn into, like, a bovine and be like, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I'm just a cow. And I love this. I love Pachycephalosaurus because in a lot of ways they're just the goat of dinosaurs. They're just the goat of dinosaurs. It's really what a Pachycephalosaurus is a big goat. Probably lived a lot like goats too. I wouldn't be surprised. That is how nature often does, is it you'd be surprised how much of nature doesn't really ever change that much. You would be surprised. Body form body form same, probably live the same way, because it's what the body form's for. How many times did dolphins appear? They all lived like dolphins. More than likely, they all lived like dolphins. Was your favorite toy as a dinosaur? Was your favorite dinosaur toy as a child? Yeah. Mine was a Spinosaurus, personally. But it was, like, really chunky. Then we had Poseidon, who couldn't get a break with wanting someone to have a wife. Since his wife Medusa, what? Also, I did not know, was his wife Medusa? Medusa wanted to be Poseidon's wife, and then... I think the only god you can think of that has the best life with a loved one is exactly Hades. Dude, Hades and Persephone are great. They genuinely are. And it still has a fucking context of Zeus being the bastard man. Zeus is still the bad guy in that story. They are better. Silos, they are better. They actually have a much more... by Greek standards, they have a much healthier, like... I don't know if bipartisan is the right term. No. They have a very, like... dysfunctional relationship. We'll put it that way. Like, there are better words. Like, they have an actual, like, family dynamic. The only person who's objective to Persephone and Hades together is Persephone's mother. Yeah. Uh-huh. But no, I do genuinely think that the depictions of Persephone and Hades, based on what I know, based on the game, based on my very little forays with overly sarcastic productions, like they have like an actual like marriage. They like discuss things, and like she does genuine, like at first she thought it was not great, but then Hades actually treated her like really well. Like he wasn't a dick to her like she thought he was gonna be. So you bet Hera is happy. I bet Hera is happy for Hades too. But Hera has to deal with fucking Zeus, that bastard. I don't think I knew that about Medusa though. I didn't know that Medusa and Poseidon. I didn't know. I didn't know Medusa had a thing for Poseidon. I just didn't know that. Uh huh. Well, I mean, honestly, I just don't even like unless there's character development. I really am just like Hera, you must at least be some part of this toxic relationship. But I also know that this is something that always sarcastic actually reiterates, which makes her genuinely like knowledgeable as well as entertaining. Is like, you know, the issue is you can't prescribe a certain level of humanity to the gods, since the gods are not people; they are manifestations of whatever they represent. So they're gonna do whatever the fuck they want. So like, yeah. But it is still fun to laugh at how weird and sometimes asinine their interactions are. Yeah, Zeus gonna Zeus. He's gonna do what he's gonna do. Largely, we have to remember that a lot of those gods were constructed in a rationalization of things outside of human control. Largely, that were perceived as outside of human control, including human desires. So, which is still alarming that to this day that's kind of a thing. But we don't got to get into that. We're not the stream for that. Listen, it is we are okay with horny on main to a point here, but I will admit it is really annoying how many people do genuinely think they can't control themselves. It's a little alarming. It's alarming and gross. It worries me. The human race worries me sometimes. Do something like this. I just wanted to go and meet all the way at the top. You can't really hold them accountable to modern standards. That too. Yeah. They were a rationalization for certain things that were ascribed to a grander misinterpretation of what we have what we do and don't have agency over. So you gotta remember that. That's why they oftentimes will just do whatever they're gonna do because they are in some ways constrained by whatever realms they dictate. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are. Just not Zeus. Just definitely not Zeus. Ooh, I do like this design. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because this is what one of the things I want to do more whenever I do paleo art, whenever I do creature art, is like animals are lumpy a lot of times. They are lumpy. They're not skin and bones. And I really, really want to make it a point that like you get a sense of a fuller. I don't want to just chunkify them, but I do want it to like muscle out a lot of them because I think oftentimes we grew up with the quote unquote shrink wrap. We grew up with the shrink wrap of dinosaurs where they were drawn and depicted like just down to their skeleton, which is not necessarily correct. That is not how animals are shaped. We all know that Cersei will never be trusted on people who are threats to her and the nymphs. Yes. Should know who Cersei is, though. Yes. Yes. Wait, no, Cersei's. I thought Cersei was just a witch. I thought she was just a witch. Isn't that who Odysseus meets? Odysseus meets Cersei, doesn't he? He turns his crew into pigs and he eats them. And he's like, "Why did you let me eat my men?" And she's like, "I just wanted you to stay." And he's like, "Well, I guess I'll stay a while." A winch nip, gotcha. He really was like, "I hate my men." And she's like, "I just wanted a friend for a while." And he's like, "Okay, fair. Can I go home?" And eventually she's like, "Yeah, you can go home." That's what happened, right? He doesn't. If I remember correctly, it's not even that she like tricks him all that bad. He just kind of stays there for a while and is like, "I want to go home." And then she's like, "Okay, you can go home." And he's like, "Thank you. It's been like 5 years." I do like how this Pachycephalosaur is coming along quite a bit. Or like that, maybe? No, that. It's to be able to go around that way. Like there could be something here-ish, but that's a bit stretching it, I think. Maybe like that. So I need to have this part of the head. Something like that. Pachycephalosaurus is a really cool dinosaur. I've always liked Pachycephalosaurus. He looks dope. I love his weird head. Always loved his weird shape. He's always fascinated me and where he like kind of lies on a phylogenetic tree because he's actually somewhere closer to like ceratopsids. It's very weird because they're not really like they're ornithischians like the rest of the ornithischians, but they're like weirdly closer to ceratopsids, which is weird to me. They're like shaped more like I don't know other bipedal ornithischians, so it's like weird. Nature don't really ever do anything the way you expect it to. Ain't that just the way? That. They have 5 fingers. 4 toes. Honestly, I don't know how we ended up with so many toes based on like what I see dinosaurs and stuff. Because dinosaurs, as far as I can tell, only have ever had like four, four. I've never seen a 5-toed dinosaur. I've always seen 3 to 4. Weird to me. Really struggling with this leg. Kind of foreshortening a little bit, I think. I'm running into a little bit of foreshortening there, which is unfortunate, but we'll figure it out. That I If it counts Sacrosuchus as a 5-toed dino. Sacrosuchus. I don't think so. Yeah, Sacrosuchus is still a crocodilian, so it does not count. I didn't know they had 5 toes. Yeah, they're just a big alligator. Oh yeah, I know Sacrosuchus. I mean, crocodilians are the oldest living archosaurs that I know of, anyways. I can't think of any others. We have our avian archosaurs and theropods that still are alive with birds. And then crocodiles are technically older than dinosaurs, though dinosaurs and archosaurs share a common ancestor. Don't let it get it twisted. Crocodiles are not dinosaurs. As same as I was a little surprised by this. I will admit this that technically pterosaurs and dinosaurs do have a common ancestor at some point, but they actually deviated way sooner, and that whilst pterosaurs are archosaurs, they are also not dinosaurs, as they are their own derivative lineage of archosaurian creatures. So whilst they are archosaurs, and they have an archosaur ancestor, like the dinosaurs did, their branching happened much earlier from dinosaurs. So they formed their own group. Don't even get me started about marine reptiles. Actually, I don't know most marine reptiles where they branch out. I don't know if any of them have an archosaur background. I do know for a fact the ones that don't are things like mosasaurs, which are squamates, or at least I think they are. I've always heard they're related to monitor lizards, but I actually don't know if they're in squamata, so I should check that. For example, oh no, yep, they are considered squamates. The mosasaurs are considered squamates, which are not dinosaurs. They are lizards, snakes. That is what a mosasaur is. The oldest has to be the horseshoe crab, the water bear, being descendants of trilobites and anomalocaris. I mean, horseshoe crabs actually just have a very similar shape to trilobites. Trilobites are completely extinct. There is not a modern trilobite. They do not exist anymore, actually, unfortunately. I would, unless we find one. If we ever saw a living trilobite, I'd cry and scream and cry. They're really weird. They're really, really weird. Horseshoe crabs actually came later. They are later than trilobites. Trilobites did come before horseshoe crabs. And anomalocaris, same thing. Anomalocarids, I believe, went extinct before the trilobites did, actually. Trilobites lived for a long time. They stuck around until I think they stuck around until the Ordovician. I don't remember when trilobites actually go extinct. Oh no, they were at the Permian. They were at the Permian extinction. So never mind. There is not a living relative of trilobites though. They all went extinct by the end of the Permian. There is not a relative. There's not a extant trilobite. Horseshoe crabs, on the other hand, have been around for longer, but appeared later. Horseshoe crabs are younger in appearance. Horseshoe crabs. The reason why I'm saying all this is because I went to school for geology and paleontology. This is something that I actually went to school for. So if I don't know it, I can know where to find it. So yeah, actually, yeah, horseshoe crabs. What's funny? No way. Yeah, I thought so. So it's estimated like they appeared around the Carboniferous. Um, they have a very peripheral they explode. What's funny is they explode in diversity after the trilobites go extinct because technically speaking, they are doing the same thing. They have the same body plan as trilobites, so you could. Now that this is a hypothesis, so this is not theory. This is a hypothesis. You could hypothesize that trilobites went out, horseshoe crabs went, I could do that, and then the horseshoe crabs got really successful doing what trilobites had been doing for millions of years. So, but yes, this is the thing: is trilobites have no living descendants. The horseshoe crabs, they're actually two different families, because I believe horseshoe crabs are still crabs. Yeah, they're chelicerates. Trilobites are not chelicerates. Chelicerates are crabs, spiders, scorpions, sea scorpions, something called eurypterids, which are also completely extinct. But the only joining point between the horseshoe crab and the trilobite is arthropoda. That's it. That's the only relation. But there's actually probably 2 degrees of separation, meaning that horseshoe crabs did not come from trilobites. They didn't. So it's a misconception. It's not. That is what I studied. I studied phylogenetics. I studied paleontology. I care about this a lot, and I always want to make sure that I got it right. So I hope you learned something. I hope you learned something, and not in a like. This is the kind of thing I like to share. I like being able to talk about this kind of stuff because it's stuff that I care about, it's stuff that I know, and it's stuff that I know I can find the right answers for. And it's cool. I love talking about paleontology, and I love talking about phylogenetics and animals and stuff like that. So, like, don't. I hope you understand. It's an opportunity for me to be able to say not like a no, you got it wrong, but more like a well, actually, this is how it would work. This is how it would work. Because, again, so apparently horseshoe crabs. I'm gonna have to. This might be a wiki question in the sense of like. Here's the thing. Wiki's like they're closely related to the extinct eurypterids, and I'm like, well, they're closely related to the extinct eurypterids about as much as spiders are related to the extinct eurypterids in that they're all chelicerates. So I don't know the validity of that kind of statement. Um, they could be, but yeah, I guess that's fascinating. Well, but that's a paraphyletic. That's not monophyletic. That's paraphyletic. That's bad philo. That's bad phylogeny. Wikipedia. That's bad phylogeny. Wikipedia doing a bad job. Wikipedia doing a bad job with its phylogenetics. The difference between monophyletic and paraphyletic is monophyletic means you always it is single. It's one. You always have a straight line because in reality, that is how it should work. It's how it should work. If you have something paraphyletic, something went wrong. But it doesn't mean that you know the right answer. It means something is wrong and there needs to be more research done to make it no longer paraphyletic. Monophyletic is every descendant has one common ancestor. Every descendant has one common ancestor. I'm trying to think of a good example of monophyletic that people would recognize. Unfortunately, I am thinking about humanity and primates as somewhat monophyletic, but that's a mess. I mean, that's probably the best one, right? Well, the transition from fish to amphibian. Monophyletic when it's written right. It is monophyletic. Because we could see where one descended from another, branched off and descended from another. Essentially, you only have one branching point. And one branching point is what you want. One branching point is what you want. Because ideally, you have... This is here, easier actually this way. This is monophyletic. Because what this is saying is this lineage A, lineage B, split off in time somewhere around here, right? That's where they dissected. That means that if lineage A does not go extinct, if lineage A doesn't go extinct, lineage B continues on, then their descendants branch again, separately. This is a monophyletic diagram. This is a monophyletic diagram. However, if you make a paraphyletic diagram, which you don't want to have happen, it is a mistake, it is when you have somehow two branching points at the same time. That is not possible. This is not possible. You can't have that happen. That does not happen. That is not how anything works. That is paraphyletic. What paraphyletic is trying to say is like, we don't really know where the branching point is, essentially. We don't know. Is what that is saying. Is what that is trying to say. And when you have something that's paraphyletic, it causes problems. Because you need to know which came first. It's a chicken and the egg situation. For phylogeny to work, is one does always come after the other. Like, there's... The debate on that is not a question. The debate is always which one came first, whenever it comes to the case of the chicken versus the egg, for any given individual animal. You have to figure out which one came first, but one of them always did come first. That is always true. Little did you know, you joined the stream of somebody who got a degree in this. I've done research. I've studied. Yeah. But it is a topic that I care a lot about because there are cases where people think that evolutionary biology is super straightforward. The irony is that it is, actually. But it is based on the collective research and understanding of what is straightforward and not just what seems straightforward. You don't know how many times I've been like, those two aren't related, but those two are? Like, it's a tough net. It's a tough web that you have to dissect and deconstruct and study. And there's always constant changes. There's constant changes in the tree of life, in the research and understanding of the evolution of life forms. It's constantly changing. Because we're getting better genetic material, we're getting better understanding, because you can't just base it on body forms. You cannot just base something on body forms. You can get a lot. You can get a lot of inference from body forms, but you have to know several key factors of what makes something related to something else. One of them is just one of the important ones that I've had to understand, which is why things like the mole is the perfect example of why you can't just look at something that looks like something else and say they're related, when they could still be several thousand genre apart from each other, even if they're both in the same group. The marsupial mole and the placental mole are two different animals. They are not related aside from being mammals. That's it. It's the only relation that they have. It's the closest recent descendant they have, is that at one point their common ancestor was a mammal. That's it. They have no relation as moles. Their existence as moles have nothing to do with each other. They just so happen to develop the shape of a mole, because being that shape as a mole is a really good shape to be a mole. It's called convergent evolution. It's super fascinating. It's the reason why we get dolphins and turtles and crabs all the time. It's not because they're all related. Ichthyosaurus, a dolphin, are not related. Ichthyosaurs are reptiles. They are diapsids. Dolphins are mammals. They're synapsids. Their most recent common ancestor is going to go all the way back to some reptilian ancestor. I'm gonna say, like, whatever anapsids existed. That's one that I'm always confused about, is the skull opening ones. Like, once you get past that, it's like fine, but actually where that breaking point between synapsids and diapsids happened is way the fuck long ago, well before a dolphin and an ichthyosaur could ever exist. And yet ichthyosaurs existed before dolphins did, lived the same lifestyle as dolphins did, and largely had the same body plan as a dolphin. And they are separated by millions of hundreds of millions of years. Because sometimes lineages just develop similar shapes. And that the things that define an animal are the parts that, or the things that define a group of animals are the things that they hold in common together and their genetics, and not to their most closest related ancestors, and not to just the pure body plans that they have. Their body plans are just a suggestion. They can relate to other animals in the same group, but they still have to have a commonality to something more basal and fundamental of their physiology and their genome. I love taphonomy. Well, I mean, I love taphonomy too. This isn't taphonomy. I love taxonomy. I love talking about it. It's a super fascinating topic. I I find it so endlessly interesting to think about how nature does not give a damn. Nature does not care. If it finds something that works, if an animal finds a way to works, it fucking works. And it oftentimes has nothing to do with anything else. And on that note, Anomalocaris is a good boy, and I appreciate them. Everybody go hug Anomalocaris. They're just doing their best. Everyone go hug your local Anomalocaris. They're just doing their best. You like this Pachycephalosaur? How big is Pachycephalosaurus? Actually, no. And also do better science than me. I was looking at Wikipedia. Really, you should look if you can. Oh wow, they're actually kind of big. See, I thought Pachycephalosaurus was kind of big. They're at their tallest, they're about shoulder height of a human being. But that's pretty big. That's honestly pretty big. That's like not smaller than a horse. I don't know. That's pretty big. I'd say that's pretty big. I want to try to. figure out how to do these toes a little bit better. Draw my guy. Draw you a little bit smaller. Something like... trying to figure out how I want to be standing in this scale. There we go. Just want to pet him. I just want to pet every dinosaur I draw. That's the real truth. This is just an excuse to pet every dinosaur, even if it would eat me. Or horribly gore me. Look at Pachycephalosaurus. What's the worst you can do? Just fucking run into my gut? At full speed? That would hurt, but I wouldn't die. Probably. Like that? No. There we go. Like that? You like that? I don't know how I want to draw me. I want to put myself in there, but I don't know how. I'm gonna worry about me at the moment. We're not gonna worry about putting me in the moment. I'm gonna focus on drawing my boy. Always had me riding him, but it would be really tall. Ugh. There we go. I do like how this has come out a lot, actually. He looks good. I feel like this looks really, really nice. Yeah. Something like that. Maybe something like that. Hmm. Eh, eh. I also have... See, some drawings do give some stuff on the, like, cheekbones and stuff. I typically like to draw my dinosaur skulls a little bit more rounded, more geometrical, rather than skin tight. Something like that. Now, what I find interesting here is I have a little bit of freedom on where I put a couple of these kinds of lines. I can, like, really do whatever I want in that space. Maybe I don't put myself in for a scale, but I need something. I feel like I need something. I find this interesting. How it just, like, kind of draws out it draws out the feet and toes in kind of a weird way. There we go. Yeah, I really like that. That looks good. That looks nice. What's funny is this reference image actually doesn't have that fourth. That's the weird thing about that fourth toe. I feel like it's always up to debate whether or not it has a fourth, whether or not that like dangly toe is ever a thing on a dinosaur or not. Sometimes people add it, sometimes they don't. I don't know why nobody can ever decide or agree whether or not dinosaurs actually had those. Just gonna try. Just gonna try some shapiness there. We're just gonna try some shapiness there. I don't know why I did that. I'm not gonna be. I hope it's not an important phone call. Doesn't seem to be. I should. That was my bad. That was my bad. I should have ignored it. That was a. That was a pure reflex on my part. I have a pretty bad habit. When I get a phone call, my first instinct, if I don't recognize the number, is my phone does have the it does have that feature to be able to just be like, nope. You can ask them through your phone who the heck they are to verify, and sometimes I just hit that as a as an instinct. I saw that my phone was ringing and it was like, "Oh, I should see if this is anybody." I'm like, "I'm not going to pick it up even if it was." I wouldn't have picked up even if it was. I would have had to have just called them back or had them leave a message. I don't know why I did that. Oopsie. I don't know why this is speaking to me, but I'm gonna do this way. Thinking graphite. I'm feeling graphite. I don't know why. I've been coloring the last few, and this one I don't feel like coloring, I guess. Because I want to play. It's because I want to play Monster Hunter. Because I want to do Monster Hunter art. So probably won't color this one. It'll be a quickie. A quickie pachycephalosaurus. I mean, I feel like as far as like a subject that I got on paper, I got this down pretty fast, actually. I've gotten really fast. I have to say, I feel like I've gotten really, really quick. Even though I took that break, like, came back and immediately just hopped straight on it, it felt like. And while this is more sketchy overall, like, I'm pretty happy with this. Ah. Pachycephalosaurus. A big chrome dome. Everyone's favorite chrome dome. Yeah, something like that. I honestly, where are Pachycephalosaurus found? Because I'm like, what kind of environment would they have been? Ugh. Ferdinand. And the American West. The city of the head of the Missouri River, now known as the Lance Formation of north southeastern Montana. Apparently, it was described as, huh? Apparently, it has Pachycephalosaurus. Apparently, has a very long history. I did not realize of like kind of being a bit of a mess of a description. Huh? That is a really cool rendition, though. I also have to give Fresco credit. They do a very good job of looking like a very convincing physical medium. Like this feels like a pencil sketch. This feels like a pencil sketch, even though I'm not using a pencil, technically. It feels like I'm doing a very good job at keeping the roundness of that big old skull. There we go. Yeah, that's quite nice. I like that. I need to do more dynamic poses. I feel like something I know I can do that I really enjoy doing that I haven't done in a while is I need to do more dynamic poses with dinosaurs and stuff in general. It's hard though. Hard. Hard to make them stand. You know how hard it is to get a dinosaur to stand like that, especially to stand still for that long to be able to draw them? Actually, that part's really easy. They don't move. They're dead. That part's the easy part. They just don't have any skin or anything. That's the hard part. That's the inconvenient part that they provide, is they have no skin. This is always the hard part with me when I get to this kind of like element of pencil work is like trying to keep everything about the same and how best to texture it. It's tough with stuff like this. Why don't you try something? Yuck. Even if I did do that, it's too big. I'm gonna try it just to see if I like it. If I don't, we don't have to do this. I don't hate it. I don't think I want to smudge it. I feel like for me, this is falling into a trap. Smudging is going to be a trap for me because I'll want to do it everywhere, and then I'll be like, now I got to do it everywhere to fix stuff, and I'm just like, nah, that's not what we're doing here. That to be a little bit darker. I need this to be a little bit darker. Trying to trying to get that correct. I'm not super big on cross-hatching, but I do want... I am enjoying how this is looking, so I'm trying it just to see if I can get it to work. I kind of can. Something like that. Being a little bit lazy here, but it's fine. I'm just kind of probably using too many dark lines. That's fine. That's okay. This is not this is a little bit of just me getting back into it. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking to draw a Pachycephalosaurus. If I've drawn a Pachycephalosaurus, I've drawn the right thing. Listen, the concern always with me is not whether or not I can draw a dinosaur. It's whether or not I could restrain myself from drawing a dinosaur. That's always my question is did I actually draw a dinosaur or did I not draw a dinosaur? That's always what I have to watch out for is if I'm working on something and then just draw a dinosaur instead on accident or on purpose depending on the context. Yeah, that looks really good actually. I like that. Give them a little bit more patterning. Give them some more shapiness there. Let's kind of do a little bit better at sculpting this part a little bit more. Sculpting is something that I've the biggest advice I got for my art that made me start doing better for what I was lacking was being instructed that I need to focus more on my sculpting. Sculpting is something that I struggled with for a really, really long time. I didn't really view drawing as sculpting. I just viewed it as drawing lines. I just viewed drawing as drawing lines. And since then, like when I learned that, I was like, oh, that's one of the things I was doing wrong. I was doing enough sculpting. Since then, I feel like I've gotten better about it. Sorry, I just didn't know how big I was working with. I love this weird song because it reminds me of Jurassic Park. I think I mentioned this, but I actually, when I went and sought out an audiobook, which there is a free audiobook on YouTube for Jurassic Park, which is really solid. It's really, really good. I just played this on loop for like 90% of the book, and it was really, really good, except for one part, which was the tree scene, which is in the book, which I used the original soundtrack from the movie, and it fit it perfectly, and it's bonkers to me. Like it started and ended right at the perfect spots for it. It was crazy. I was like not expecting it to work that well. I mean, that is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. The tree scene is really, really good. It to be something like that. See, I just needed to be in my happy place. My happy place is drawing dinosaurs and playing Monster Hunter. But I didn't do that today, so. It is a shame that Elden Ring couldn't be a happy place for me, but I gotta say, I already have a Souls game. I already have two Souls games for my happy place. That's Bloodborne and Dark Souls. Try something like that. Get a little bit and give it a little bit more shape. Yeah, I like how that's coming along. Try not to get it too flat either. I am trying to get a little bit more depth in parts of it. Well, this isn't where that's supposed to be. God bless Sean for finding this and sharing it with me. It's still to this day one of my favorite jams of all time. This whole EP is so good. Love it. I like this. I like it. He's coming along really nicely. He really is. There we go. Look at my big dome-headed boy. He's so good. Isn't he so good? Love him. I think in some ways I'm having like a little bit of a harder time. Like these areas are kind of screwing with me, but the rest of it I'm pretty happy with. And the thing I need to remember that I get impatient on this, is that it very much is you gotta kind of like go a little bit at a time. I want to do things in like big immediate strokes, even though I'm not good at that. That's what I want. That's what my body wants. I want to just like make the line. That's what I want, but I can't. I have to build it up. I have to build it up and build it up and build it up and build it up. That is something that I'm super impatient about sometimes. I have a bad habit of being impatient about wanting to just have it be done. There we go. I just like me a parasuit. I like this is not Parasaurolophus. This is Pachycephalosaurus. I got the wrong one. My bad. Ooh, I do like that actually a lot. I like how that came out a lot, a lot. Hell yeah. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. Like that. Try to add a little bit more depth. Tried a couple different styles of holding my hand to try to get this much more shapy. More like that, maybe? Yeah. Something more like that. Yeah, I like that a lot. I like how that's coming out. I also liked because again, a lot of the depictions I've seen of Pachycephalosaurus, the neck is like super skinny and it's like a huge head, and I'm like, to me, with the way that the head is like shaped, I would like to imagine that they have a pretty robust neck. Like even if they're like hitting things at full force and stuff, or even if they aren't, like it's a big head. I would think that their necks would be particularly robust to be able to hold up their fat heads because they've got really big heads, really thick skulls. That those can't be light. So that could be one thing that I don't know about. If actually don't know is that if that's a thing where their heads are like surprisingly light. They might be. A lot of dinosaurs were that way. They were built very actually like light. They were built very light bodied. You'd be surprised. Like you think they'd be these oh so big heavy guys, and actually their bodies developed to be as like light as possible for the size that they were. They had hollow bones. They had things that did everything that they could to actually lighten their load whilst maximizing their mass. It's kind of a fascinating thing that is something that dinosaurs did a lot. They were big. There were big dinosaurs, but their actual composition, like their body, their skeletal plan, and everything, was designed to try to minimize the amount of weight they could make in that kind of size. Is actually a lot of times what it is. They were minimizing it. Maybe Pachycephalosaurus actually had a surprisingly light head for such a fat head. I don't know. Let's see. The anatomy of Pachycephalosaurus itself is poorly known, as only skull remains have been described. Oh, Pachycephalosaurus is famous for having a large bony dome on top of its skull, 25 centimeters thick, 10 inches thick, which safely cushioned its brain. Dome, the dome's rear aspect was edged with bony knobs and short bony spikes projected outwards from the snout. However, the spikes were probably blunted, not sharp. Skull was short, possessed large, rounded eye sockets that faced forward, suggesting the animal had binocular vision. Pachycephalosaurus had a small muzzle that ended in a pointed beak. The teeth were tiny, with leaf-shaped crowns. The head was supported by an S or U-shaped neck. Younger individuals of Pachycephalosaurus might have had flatter skulls and larger horns, projecting from the back of the skull. As the animal grew, the horns shrunk and rounded out as the dome grew. Pachycephalosaurus was bipedal and possibly the largest of all pachycephalosaurids. You son of a gun. It is estimated that it was about 4.5 meters long, 14.8 feet, weighed around 370 to 450 kilograms, or 820 pounds, or 990 pounds. Okay, yeah, they were horse-sized. Easily. Based on other pachycephalosaurids, it's probably had a fairly short, thick neck, short arms, bulky body, long legs, and a heavy tail that likely held rigid by ossified tendons. So yeah. Pachycephalosaurus is a weirdo, yo. Pachycephalosaurus is weird, man. Like it. I mean, that's what draws me to a lot of dinosaurs is they're both very like cool for how big they could get as well as how weird they just were. Even though in a lot of respects like sure, Pachycephalosaurus probably did live a lot like a goat. I would not be surprised if it lived very similarly to how a goat lives. Like a goat or like some kind of antelope even. Probably an open plains kind of guy. Then again, grasses appeared. I can never remember if it's before or after the Cretaceous. Grasses are usually not a dinosaur thing. Grasses, okay, early Cretaceous. So grasses didn't appear until the Cretaceous. Must have been a fucking surprise when one day some freaking hadrosaur is just chewing on a leaf and then he's like, what the hell is that growing up straight out of the ground? And they take a bite of it and they're just like, ah, it's full of rocks. Grass is weird. Grass is very odd in a lot of ways. They're like, what if plants decided, hey, we're gonna have a skeleton now? That's kind of what grass is. When you really think about what grass does, grass is when they were like, nah, we're gonna get bones now. Grass is bone-in plants. That's the way that I learned it. Ooh. Yeah, I'm really liking how this is shading. Try to do a little bit of counter shading. A lot, though. Not a ton. The nice thing is this is just the outside, so I can just erase this out. If I just erase this part out, it'll look good. Yeah. Chrome Dome. It is crazy that fossilized remains of the Pachycephalosaurus are actually surprisingly scarce in the sense that we don't. Usually, the skull is the part that is the most difficult to get, but given the nature of this creature, it makes sense that the skull is all we goddamn have. But it is astounding to me that we only really have the skull. We don't really have anything else. We don't really have a skeleton of Pachycephalosaurus. We just have the top of their head. We just have their scalp. I'm gonna try doing something like that. There we go. Not bad. Do something like that. Carefully build out those fingers. That. There we go. I love him. What a good boy. I would pet this boy. But like I've said, I would pet any dinosaur, even if it tried to bite my head off or gore me horribly. I would try to pet it. I've wanted to pet a moose. I would definitely die, but I would try to pet a moose if I got the opportunity to. What is a moose but a cow with really big sporks on their head? Like, moose ain't gonna hurt me. It's just a big cow with sporks on his head. Advise, do not go pet a moose. You will die. And if you survive, do not say you heard that for me you could pet a moose because it was just a cow with big sporks on its head. I will not be held liable for such misfortune. But he said that the moose was just a cow with sporks on his head. I'd try to pet a moose. I'd try to pet anything. I'd try to pet a bear if I could. And most certainly, if I had the opportunity to pet a dinosaur, I would not even hesitate on that. I would be losing fingers left and right. Without question. That's not bad. I have to give Fresco credit. Like this is impressive, the kind of like just medium manipulation it actually has. Like it looks like graphite. It looks like a pencil drawing. That's impressive, I must say. I must say, it's quite impressive that they were able to make it look like. Yeah, if I don't end up finishing this today, I definitely will get close to finishing this next time, and then we can do something else. Probably my hunter from Monster Hunter. Hydrate, man. Thank you, Hydrate Man. What I'll probably do here. How long is this? This is a 40-minute song thing. I'll probably play out this one because it's my favorite and I love it. I love Cambrian animals. Thank you. I'm enjoying drawing him. He's been fun. I really enjoyed drawing this. He came out really, really good, I feel like. Like, way better even than I was expecting to get back into it. I actually felt like I started off kind of choppy. So I'm glad I got to this point, because he looks quite good. My Homersaurus is looking good. He is kind of Homer. He is kind of Homer. You see this? I see this. See now. I see the similarities here. Is this not? Is this not a? Is this not a Homer? Is this not a Homer? Is this not a Homer? I mean, I'm imagining it right now. Is this not a Homer? Simpson. It's the Homer Simpson. It's him! It's Homer Simpson! It's Homer Simpson! Look! It's him! He's here! It's him! Is that not Homer? Homer makes me mad. I did such a bad job. No! You don't like Mr. Simpson? What's wrong with Homer Simpson? I do. I mean, I grew up with The Simpsons. I like The Simpsons. I did. I did. You don't like The Simpsons? Ah. You never grew up with it. I mean, I went back and watched like the first season or two and was like, what's funny is season 1 is okay. It's a little surprising it got as big as it did. Like, season 1 was supremely underwhelming and weird. And then season 2, it does get pretty good, honestly. And then I stopped watching because there's so much Simpsons. There's so much Simpsons. Parents didn't like it, and I never had TV. That's so weird. I wonder what would have made them dislike The Simpsons so much. Could have just been that thing. There's a weird thing where a lot of American adults just think cartoons are stupid, regardless of their context or content. Which is always weird to me. It's like, we've had adult cartoons for forever. And yet, cartoons are for kids is something that is just a given. Now, I grew up with both like, I grew up where my parents liked cartoons. My parents liked my mom loved Disney movies, actually. She really did. We watched all the Pixar films. She loved Pixar movies. At least I thought she did. Maybe she just was like, kids will like it. But I got the impression that she actually really liked Pixar movies. So, like, we grew up with animated movies as, like, sure, like, family animated movies, but I got the impression that my family actually really liked, my parents really liked a lot of the cartoons we watched. My stepdad actually really liked Powerpuff Girls. Greg loved Powerpuff Girls. So yeah, like we were in a pretty it is a surprise that I didn't get more into animation sooner, but I've always had like a strong familial background in animation. Like, my brother, when he came back from college, we actually watched Totoro together as a family. Like, he tried to get us introduced to more anime. He grew up with a little bit more anime than I did. When we were younger, he was getting on Toonami and stuff. And a little bit of Adult Swim before I really got into anime. I didn't really get into anime until college. You don't know if you've seen a full Ghibli movie? The first Ghibli movie I saw from front to back was actually Howl's. I highly recommend Howl's Moving Castle. It's really good. I should rewatch it. It's one of my favorites. It's maybe my example of my favorite romance writing, in that it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. Princess Mononoke is fantastic. I'm so glad I finally watched that fucking movie. I can't believe it took me so long to watch that fucking movie, and yet I completely understand why it took me so long to watch that fucking movie, because I saw it as a kid and it scared the piss out of me. And it's a scary movie for a kid. Like, it's not, obviously as an adult, it's just kind of gory. honestly, it's just impressively gory. Like, it is the most mature Ghibli ever gets. There's some shit in that movie that I'm like, this would be a fine kids movie if a guy literally didn't get decapitated at one point. Like, it would be a fine kids movie if it was not gory as all hell. There is some real heavy gore, honestly, in Princess Mononoke. And it's a great movie. Fantastic movie. Love its message. Love its characters. Love its influence on gaming. Like, it's a fantastic movie. Totally understand why I didn't watch it sooner. Shit scared me pissless when I was a kid. It is a violent movie. Oh, it's so weird because I've been exposed to so much more media. It is a violent movie for some of its content. Like, in a lot of ways, it is a Disney movie. It's about a lot of pretty wholesome things. It's just a really big adventure that also has some really good coverage and some pretty heavy themes that are like actually kind of met a little blasé in some parts. Like, the gore is the most striking thing about Princess Mononoke for me. The actual presentation of anything else, the characters aren't like super mature. They're like just people. They're just people. They don't swear. They don't even really swear. They don't really say or do anything that's abjectly like evil or gross. Like, they don't do anything that you would think out of a more mature film. The mature themes of the movie are war bad and it's gory. That's it. Like, that's all. People aren't really like awful to each other. There is not like a crass sense of humor. There's not more maturity beyond that, actually, like in the way that it's presented, which I think is super fascinating about that movie. Like, it's not treated like an adult movie, but it has incredibly adult material in it. In my opinion, like, my viewing of Princess Mononoke is that, like, its characters and its character interactions and a lot of the things about it would work in a Disney movie. They would. Like, the way that people behave and talk to each other. Like, they talk. It's not like kids' movie, but it's not adult. It's not. It's fairly normal. It's fairly pedestrian in a lot of ways. And you have a scene where the main character's like, no, I don't want to be violent. Okay, I'm gonna be violent. Like, quite literally, he's like, I don't want to do this. And then proceeds to shoot the head off of somebody. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But, like, that's the thing that I think is fascinating about Princess Mononoke is, like, really, its characters behave like they would, like, in a Disney movie. They really do. They don't do anything that is that extreme. Just very extreme imagery happens all the time in that movie. The imagery is very extreme, but the actual like behaviors of some of the characters, the way that they interact, the way that people talk to each other in that movie, it's not extreme at all. Really. Like I said, it's surprising to me that Princess Mononoke is as violent as it is. I mean, it has to be. It's like part of its point. I think it's important that it is. But I think that's what I end up liking about it more is that ultimately it is not. It doesn't think the violence is good, and it's not wanting to focus on it. But it is very. The one with no face. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Spirited Away. Spirited Away is one that I really need to watch. I think James really likes it. I get the impression that I would really like it. I just don't think it'll be my favorite. Porco Rosso is my favorite. The thing that I like about the best Ghibli films is actually that they handle very mature themes without having to be explicit. That's what it is. What's odd is Princess Mononoke can be explicit, but it's only explicit about very specific things. Anything else, it's not. It really isn't. It's a very fascinating movie. I think it totally earns its influence on games, by the way. We would not have The Legend of Zelda. Uh, we would not have Shadow of the Colossus. We wouldn't have parts of Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Souls games in general. We probably wouldn't have some Monster Hunter in there. Like, Princess Mononoke is an incredibly influential film, and I appreciate it for that. Like, it's a fascinating movie. Porco Rosso is just my favorite just because I really like the theme and I really like the main character. I relate to him quite a bit. I like planes. I think it has a good sense of humor. Porco Rosso is quite good. Highly recommend it. I I like Porco a lot because he's a fascinating design who is character design who is informed. You are informed on why he is the way he is because of who he is and not because of a combination of either something about being like a pig or the attributes of a pig are what make him like he is what he is. If anything, the thing I like about Porco Rosso is it is all in his head. He's not that. He's not that at all. That's why I like him too, is they do a very good job of making him such a likable character in person. The fuck? Stream still going? Stream is still going. Why did my music stop? I'm gonna reload. I don't know what happened there. That was odd. But Porco Rosso, so much of what makes him him is what he puts on himself. Actually, it has nothing to do with his actual physique. And when they're establishing him as a character, they make that a point. Like, he is a really likable person. He is a really likable character. He is a really likable individual. He's even charismatic. He's the one who makes himself feel and look the way that he does. That was a pretty big wake up call for me because I had a lot of esteem issues growing up. Still do every now and then. I'm better, but nobody's perfect. And so much of Porco Rosso is about how his esteem issues come from a pretty valid place. They do. It's not just him thinking he's ugly. Thinks he's an ugly person because of the things he's experienced, not because of his own impression of himself. That's an incredible message that I don't see in anything. So, yeah, Porco Rosso, Howl's Moving Castle, Princess Mononoke are probably the three Ghibli films I would point to and say these are the best. That said, I do need to rewatch Totoro, if for nothing else, but to apparently follow the wise words of the man himself who wrote it, and Mr. Tim Rogers, who said that you should watch Totoro exactly twice in your life. Once as a child, and once as an adult. And I would admit, I didn't see Totoro until probably about 18 or 19. I would consider that seeing it as a child. And I thought it was okay. I was like, I don't really get it. I kind of find it interesting with like the mom and everything, but I don't really get it. Now as an adult, I might actually get something more out of it, actually. We'll see. I don't know. I don't really have a fondness to childhood summer. And I kind of do. I think everybody does to some extent. There are some things about childhood summer that I have fondness for. Not a lot, though. There's not a lot in there. I do not yearn for the Inaka like many don't. My summer is still going. And it Burns. That said, I probably would really enjoy a summer vacation into the rural portions of really any country. Probably should do my own summer vacation someday. Someday. No, no, Silas. Why would you put that evil on me? I mean, without having visited Japan, having seen that very good Tim Rogers video, I would admit, like, I haven't gotten to that point yet, but maybe the thing that would kick it off would be watching Totoro again and finally being like, you know what? It has been a long time since I've had a summer. Just process my life. Gotcha. Like, everybody should have one summer in their entire adulthood where they get to process their life. I haven't gotten that yet, but hopefully we'll get that soon. And not at the age that Tim does, at like 47. I don't want to be 47 when I get my summer vacation. But it's looking that way! One trip I want to do at some point is what I want to call the cowboy trip. The reason why I call it the cowboy trip is I really want to go out of my way as best as I can to just do like a week, say, summer. Head either laterally or south. South laterally, so east or west, and maybe south. Go to an ocean. Drive there. Just along the way, just kind of hoof it. See if I can. Just to see if I can. If I can't, then I can't. And I'll know I can't. But I genuinely don't know if I could do that. Like, to me, it would be good. I would have to just think about how I would deal with certain things. It would force me to have to test my ingenuity on certain kinds of things. That's another thing that I want to try it for. And I think it would be fun because I personally do think I coop myself up a little bit too much. I do not like being stuck inside all the time. I do. I like being outside. I like going outside. I like even when it's like warm, hot, cool. Like I like being outside. I like sweating. 'Cause I'm a freak. But like I don't know. I like that. I genuinely do. Maybe I would like it. Maybe I would hate it. I don't know. But like thinking about it, it's like, well, I have my car. I'd at least have some kind of like weathering. So if I could escape from the hot and the cold if I really, really need to. Anytime I've been in my car, it's like, yeah, I can at least get away from it. That's why I'm like, I kind of want to try like a real cowboy hoofing of that. Who knows? Maybe I would be a wuss. Maybe I would hate it. Maybe I'd come straight back. That's the other thing is like I'd also like it to be a bit of a test of my endurance because I feel like oftentimes I get put in a lot of situations in which I like end up being kind of miserable. But if I was to put myself in that situation, I could pull the trigger or just literally go do something else to get away from it for a while. Like, oftentimes my discomfort comes from being put in a position of discomfort out of either bad luck or, believe it or not, necessity of the situation in which just I had to bite the bullet. But if I'm biting the bullet for myself and making those decisions for myself, I'd like to believe that I at least have the ability to choose how much of that bullet I want to bite. Who knows? Maybe it would go poorly. Maybe it would go fucking awfully, but I want to at least try it once at some point. I don't know if it'll be this year, but I do want to try doing a trip like that at some point in my life. I want to go on a museum run and see like all of the museums in Western America. I'd love to go to Colorado and see all of the museums there. There's some fantastic museums in Colorado and dig sites and geology. There's stuff out there that I think is really cool and neat that I'd like to go see. Engage with. We'll see. Maybe. Maybe someday. Becca. I have a cat in me lap. Hiss has been released. Nice. Piss puppy is out. Got it. Don't call him your piss puppy. Don't call it your piss puppy. I have a cat in my lap, so I have to move. I had to move my keyboard away. Hi, buddy. He's doing good. He's rolling around in my lap. But yeah, I wouldn't mind taking a big trip someplace at some point and like just genuinely doing the cowboy run. I don't know. And maybe it'd go horribly. Maybe it would go horribly. But I'd like to believe that things still aren't that bad. That I, as long as I don't force myself through it, as long as I don't force myself through it, it would be great. Like, it would be, I would be able to take my time and get away from the heat if I needed to, or get out of the cold if I needed to. Because oftentimes I find my most discomfort when I'm traveling or anything is just when I'm constantly getting put in hot and cold and hot and cold and hot and cold and no way to get away from it and no expectation to get away from it. Just endure it. And I've never understood that. I've never understood that mentality. Because I get away from it all the time. I don't know. Get a travel camper. I would just literally just use my car, honestly. And I think it'd be fine too. I'd be fine using my car. I just have a Kia Sorento. Like, hmm, it's okay. Yeah, I have as well too. It's just weird. One of the things I've like noticed is people, unless it's just weird for the passengers, I feel like as the driver, whenever I'm driving, I've never felt too hot or too cold. Like I usually temperature control my car to feel super comfortable. And yet I've been in so many situations where I feel like I'm dying as the passenger. And I do not know why. It sucks being a passenger. So, better when you're 22 and not 30. Oh, okay. Well, I couldn't do that when I was 22. I was too busy having an existential crisis. Cars are designed to make the driver feel the most comfortable. I knew it. I thought it was crazy. Like, I always feel like I'm cooking or freezing when I'm the passenger. But when I'm driving, I'm like, oh, it's fine. Uh huh. Except for limousines. Wow, who would have thought? Telling me limousines have good, are designed to have better, are designed to have good comfort for the passengers. That is fascinating, though. I don't know. I think that's super fascinating. Because again, I feel like I've been in so many situations where, as the passenger, super uncomfortable. As the driver, it was fine. It was fine. Uh-huh. Rich people cars. What are you doing? I have a small squishy boy in my lap. What are you doing? Also, I really like how this has come out. He looks good. He looks really good. I might finish it today. I've got roughly 20 minutes left, so we'll see. I'll be damn close, I think. I've gotten a lot faster. I've noticed that. I apparently have developed a lot better speed at what I do, which is interesting because I feel like the thing I struggled with the most when I was developing as an artist was feeling like I took too long. Like I feel like back in the day, if I was doing a subject like this would have been day 2 or 3 for me, where I'm at right now. Like believe it or not, I've been kind of looking over my old material, and whilst I've always had decent work that I was working on, I feel like this would have been something that would have taken me 2 to 3 days to do. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna probably have this done in a day again. Gotten really fast. Really, really fast, I feel like. It helps that I'm not spending a lot of time redrawing things, I feel like. I've gotten a really good habit of being able to do things like in 1 or 2 goes. I'm not erasing as much, I'm not reshaping as much. I'm layering a lot better. I don't know. I'm doing good. Mm-hmm. I think I've also just gotten much faster and much more proficient at certain kinds of things, which is nice. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. You do them over and over again, but faster. You get faster at something. Right. You are correct. Boy, the boy is screaming again. What? In your box. Let me let him into his car garage. Oi! Want into the car garage? Car garage? Going in his car garage. I've got wet hands and nothing to dry them on vibes. Yeah, a little bit. No, he did go in his poop box. For a second, I heard a noise that was like, that's a noise you make when you're in your poop box. You better be in your poop box because I just let you into your car garage. And if you do that in your car garage, that would be gross. No, he's in his poop box. Are you screaming? Are you screaming because you pooped? He's screaming because he pooped. What? Leon. What a weird cat. Uh-huh. Good job, you pooped. I mean, I am glad when he poops in his poop box. I'm glad when he poops in his poop box. It's a good thing for him to do. It's good when he does it. I will praise him when he does it. He doesn't have an issue pooping in his poop box, but it's other things. I gotta take him when I get him. Though actually, he has gotten better. I feel like I haven't seen him go anywhere that he's not supposed to in a while. Which is good. Doesn't mean that he hasn't, and I'm always worried about it. But I haven't found it. I haven't found it in a long time. I have to hope that that means he hasn't anywhere. And that's all I can do is hope. Okay, but honestly, I needed a big drink. Honestly, I needed that big drink. Ooh. Yeah, I like how this is coming out so far. It looks good. There we go. It's just all the way outside, all the way downstairs. He's not outside. He's downstairs just belting. Jesus, buddy. Incredible. Yeah, I should get this done today, honestly. I'll keep going till it's finished. I've thought about it and like, I need to finish by now, and I'm just like, you know what? No. Nope. I'm going to get this done today. I don't think it'll be too much longer. It might go a little bit longer than I expected it to. It'll go longer than probably this song, but that's fine. Because it's so close to done anyways. But I can't rush it. I just gotta let it take the time it's gonna take. But it's almost done. It looks good. I like it. A little bit better with my shadows. A bit more with just to show that there's some depth there. What's funny is I feel like this is kind of like some of my older work, but this is definitely a lot cleaner. This is actually a lot cleaner than some of my older work. I feel like my older work I got way too smudgy. I did it too dark. I keep on adding material, adding medium, adding medium, adding medium. I didn't have enough variation in my tones, which is something I've gotten better at. I feel like I've gotten much better adding variance in my tones. there. A bit more there. There we go. Something like that, right? Honestly, we're good. Just gotta get that tail in. Get a little bit more detail everywhere else, but the tail, I just gotta... I do want to focus on the tail a little bit. Should have the dino drop in a big old dookie. No! Why does everybody want the dinosaur to piss or poop? I don't get it. You just look good. Why's he gotta make a big old fart? You 6. Nah. This dino gotta poop because everybody gotta poop. I do find this kind of like sketchier style kind of relaxing to do, actually. It's it's a kind of just like a be messy, have fun with it kind of vibe. Don't worry about much of anything else. Just kind of like get in there and do what you can. Like, I'll clean stuff up like this, but largely just kind of let it be. You just kind of let it be, honestly. This darker. I like it. I like it, I like it, I like it. Ah! Gotta start from the beginning. Can't start with the weird stuff there. You gotta start with the weird stuff here. Whoever does these oceanography tracks, really good, honestly. Whoever, hey, Kaifo, you're really good, and I like your stuff. I do, I genuinely do. Both Volume 1 and Volume 2 are fantastic. I could, like, listen to these forever. So good. Also, Sorry if I was being a pretentious jerk earlier. I just really like to talk about my knowledge. It is weird to me. I do feel like sometimes, uh, like that statement about trilobite and anomalocaris and horseshoe crabs. It's like I like see that, and like my inclination isn't to like correct it out of like any kind of like a no. It's more just like a well, actually that's not exactly correct. Like here's more of the information for it. So I don't know. I just haven't heard from that guy anymore. And the last thing they said was that, and they didn't say anything to what I said. So it's just like, oh, well, sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel stupid or anything. I just like to share my understanding of nature through the study that I've done, and I know how to find more information on it. So it's not say like I'm not saying like you're wrong to think that horseshoe crabs are related to trilobites. It's just not that simple. And that's fine. I think that's just not realizing, right? Like I don't know everything. I needed to look that information up. To be fair, I needed to research it. I needed to confirm that I was saying the correct information to begin with. Um because that's what it takes to learn something. Is to challenge your understanding of something. Understanding, true learning is challenging your understanding of something, not affirming your understanding of it. That's hard for a lot of people. That's not an insult, it's just fact. It's hard for me sometimes. It's hard for everyone to be able to do that, but to truly learn something is to challenge your understanding of something, not to just affirm it. At least that's my opinion. That's my opinion. That's what I'd hope. That's what I strive for personally. Why I try not to assume, because every time I do, I make an asshole out of myself, as they say from that very good movie. Um, Slam and Shaman. Quite good. But yeah, like, I'm sure they're fine. They probably just did something else, but it is awkward because I feel bad. I feel like I made it awkward for them when I just really want to share like what I learned, and like whenever I see something like that, my inclination is not to like do it out of like some kind of malice. My inclination to like be like a to say like, well, actually, it's more like this is to be like, I want I want to share knowledge. Knowledge is meant to be shared. I have an understanding of something, I want to share it. Everyone wants to share something they understand. I think that's totally understandable. I would just hope that me having a background, no matter how minuscule in those topics, still would mean that I could like say something about it knowledgeably and be like, and if I got something wrong, to get it corrected and to look into it. Like, if I got something wrong, I would like to know the information. Quite confidently for like that specific situation, I was like, I know enough to be able to say definitively, like, this is what that we know of now is what information we have, and this is the information. This is how I found it. So, yeah. Besides, I'm drawing a photorealistic dinosaur. I'm sorry, I'm gonna geek out about animals if you give me the opportunity to. That's what I'm going to do. Do have a deep interest in it, even if I am a shit posting idiot. Like, I still care about this stuff. I care about it to share it too. But that's probably whatever. They probably don't care. Which is also equally fine and fair. Hope you don't care, actually. I'd feel bad. I would feel bad if I made someone feel like I've gotten that impression apparently, like where I really want to share my knowledge and my study. So I'll be like, "Oh, I know," and then people will be like, "You made me feel dumb," and I'm like, "Well, I didn't mean to. I just know things. I know things. I just want to share my knowledge. I just want to be smart." It can be. I can also be really stupid sometimes too. Feel very I listen, the day I saw that one Darwin quote from his journal where he just says that he's the dumbest idiot ever, I'm just like, man, I feel that. Darwin, you're a smart man. I feel that. Like, I'm not a self-proclaimed smart guy. I've had a lot of people tell me I'm a smart guy. I still think I'm a complete fucking moron sometimes. I don't think I'm a smart person because I think I am. I think I'm a smart person because people have told me that I can be a smart person. I think I'm the dumbest person I've met some days. What? Maybe that's not 100% true. There's some pretty dumb people out there. But I do think that I'm not as smart as I want to be. But I don't think anybody's as smart as they want to be. I don't think anybody's as smart as they want to be. Certainly not smart people. There's nothing that'll make you feel stupider than being aware of how little you know all the time. In my opinion. Like, being actively aware of, like, wow, I really don't understand anything. That'll make you feel like an idiot all the time. I feel like an idiot all the time. Like, I know how to find information. I know how to look up information. I don't know shit. I don't know anything. That's not 100% either. That's just the esteem talking again. I do know I know things, but feel oftentimes that I am not relied on knowing anything. When I do know something, nobody cares. It's fine. It's fine, I swear. Nobody has to care about the things that I know. This is not the one who will cure cancer. It is not. And if it is, I don't fucking believe you. But I do have a background and a mind in science. I do. In study, in scientific processes, and I don't mean that as like a flex or anything. I never have. I never really do. I never mean for it to sound that way. It's just what I literally went to school for science. I feel like I'm allowed to say that. you know? Like if you've gone to school for something, you've learned something. If you did something, should be allowed to at least say, "Oh wait, I am that thing" on some level. I'm not saying I'm a master. I'm not even saying I'm really an expert, but I'm saying you could glean information from me. You could ask me a question, and I would go, "This is what I think. Now let me find you an answer or something." I could do that. It is how my brain has developed from my experience. I really like the perspective on this Pachycephalosaurus. He looks really, really good. He looks really, really good. He came out really good. I like it. Oh, so why are you crying, Silos? Did I say something to make you cry? I'm sorry. Did I say something that made you sad because I said something you don't even I was gonna say, did I say something that made you sad because you were sad that I said that I was stupid, or did I say something that made you feel stupid? I don't mean to either. I have been told that, like, sometimes I do, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't want anyone to think that they're that I think they're dumb. I don't think anyone's dumb for not knowing something. I'll think someone's dumb if they aren't open to new information. But I never thought I would never think anyone is dumb for not knowing something. In fact, part of the reason why I think I'm dumb a lot of the times is I think other people think I'm dumb because they'll say something and be like, "How do you not know that?" And I'm like, "I don't know, dog. I don't know shit. I'm lucky I know what I fucking know." Like, I would never hold it against someone for not knowing something. I don't think it's common knowledge to know that trilobites and scorpion and sea scorpions and oh, I don't know what happened there. That trilobites and horseshoe crabs aren't related. That's not common knowledge. That's barely common knowledge to know what the fuck a trilobite is. I don't think most people know what a trilobite is, which is fair. You're never gonna meet one. You're never gonna see one. You're gonna see the only ones you'll see are dead. So, like, when it comes to a situation like that, I like sharing my knowledge to be like clarifying. Like, you don't know this. That's fair and fine. Maybe you'll learn something. Like I did when I learned it. Because it was cool when I learned it. Whenever I do that, I have felt like I do come off as like weirdly pretentious. And I do not mean to. I absolutely don't. I want to share it. It's all about the sharing, not about the look at me be smarter. No. Never. Certainly is not intentional. Might be a verbiage thing. I know I have a bad habit of being a little bit too enthusiastic to want to share my knowledge on something. That's also apparently something I have a problem with, which kind of conflicts with me because I'm like, why would I not be? Why would you not want to share something you know and care about? Everyone wants to talk about the things they care about. I don't know. No buts. No buts. Like, that's a totally normal thing to do and want to do. You know? It's totally okay that everybody wants to talk about the things they care about. Just remember, everybody cares about different things. I don't know. I think he's ready. I don't think there's much more I can do for this. I think there's like I can add like details and details and details, but I think he's done. I think I got this one done in one. Honestly, goddamn, I'm getting quick at this, man. I'm telling you. I was not expecting to kick off that hard, but here we are, 3-ish hours later. Make sure, put him there. No scale this time. I just don't want to put one. It's too much work. I wished I could put myself into the scale, and I tried, and it just didn't work. Like, sometimes you try something, don't work. If something doesn't work, don't do it. Hot take. When it doesn't work, the best thing to do is not do it. Which isn't always easy. I get that. He's screaming at me. Pachycephalosaurus, Grangeri. Brown and Schleichjatter. The hell? That's a hell of a name. Damn, that's a hell of a name. That is how it is spelled, by the way. I've never seen his name before. That is actually how it's spelled. Gotta go with the most scientific. Always gotta go with the most scientific font. Do I want to bold it? I've always gone back and forth on this. I don't think I do. Nah, I don't want to. I prefer it that way. Sir? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Don't do that. Let go. There you go. What are you doing? Stop that. Hey, stop that. Not a toy. What are you doing? What are you doing? Menace? Being a menace? He's being a menace. Probably Dutch or something. Yeah. Knocked over a book. You knocked over a dinosaur book. Why'd you do that? There we go. Hey, hey, buddy. Not a toy. Not a toy. Come on, come on. What are you doing? Being feisty. He's being weird. What are you doing? Oh yeah. What? What? Go get it. You weirdo. Alright, the only thing I need to add now. We need to add my signature. And my hand. I actually really like that I've found a way to write my handle that I just really like doing. I would do it right. Wow. Buddy, what are you yelling about? Leon. About the only one I really have an issue with is the R. I've gotten better at, honestly. Yeah, the R I've gotten much better at. Make the R square or something. I feel like that's always put a little smiley in it. Now that's too much work. Now that's too much work. Funny is the thing that I've like done as a little icon. This is another thing I've been doing more of is boop, boop. Like this is something. Well, I know that. This is something I've been doing more of. Is like a mini little. It's like a mini little signature thing. I don't know. I've just been doing it more, so I don't know where I would put that. Like if it went anywhere, it'd be like here-ish. Something like that. Like that's something that I've also been doing a little bit more. I've wanted to make like a little guy. Part of my signature just be like a little guy. That's something I've been doing more. Something like that. I also want this to be smaller. Yeah, something like that. Go ahead and make you bigger. What's funny as far as like design wise, he's like perfect. Like he's perfectly framed. He's like very square. I like that. And a little bit big. Sorry, I gotta get the overlap there. I gotta be responsible. This is more for me. This is more for me. This is me being responsible as an artist. Any artist should do this. You're an artist, you care about your work, you should do this. Like, As much as I want to be like, I don't want to cover my work. I get why. I also don't want my work stolen. Get it. So, gotta do what I gotta do. Besides, if it gets people to see my shit, be like, oh, you're that guy. Be like, yeah, I'm that guy. Oh, it doesn't like the space. I can never remember. Day is the 5th. All right. Not bad. Pretty good, honestly. Honestly, pretty good. Pretty dang. I like how this came out. Always assume spaces are bad. Underscores are generally pretty safe. Yeah. Yeah, that's usually where I lean to, but you never know. You never know. Well, that came out good. This will probably be all I do. I don't think I'll color him. I'm just going to do a sketch. Why not? He was fun. It was a fun sketch. This was fun to draw. Like, I had a good time. I just needed to do a sketch, honestly. I didn't want anything super, super difficult, and this was a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun to work on. I really liked working on this one. I really want to start, like, trying to pick up my, like, output. Start growing that portfolio. You know what I mean? Start really cranking them out, buddy boy. Just start popping them out left and right. That's what I want to do. That's where I'm getting. I'm spitting all over my goddamn display again. I have a bad habit of doing that. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and open up Bing Create, and then we're gonna start by we're gonna do one more thing. We're gonna end the stream. And if you want to participate, all you gotta do is type in chat. Whatever chat says, I'll use as a reference to generate an image, and then I'll share that image before we raid out. So, drawing a dinosaur to life eating a little guy. But he's an herbivore. Why are you so yelly? Why are you so yelly? Why are you so yelly? What? Love you. Eee. What? What? You're so screamy. So screamy. Why you scream so much? Alright, that did make an image, so stick around to the very end. I also do a bit of a closing bit. We do raid after every stream, so that way the vampires in our chat can keep watching. Does everybody else out there, make sure to go lock your doors and windows. Because it's almost lunchtime for vampires. And thank you for joining, everybody. Hope you had a good time and you enjoyed the show. If you're able to join the live show, thank you for stopping by and chatting and watching. If you're watching this in the future, thank you for taking the time to go on back and rewatching the VOD. We appreciate it. If you're out there and you enjoyed this and you want to see more of what we're up to, I recommend scrolling down below and following, or clicking any of the links. There's a link to an Instagram, Facebook, a Twitter, and a Discord. We post when we go live on any one of those platforms, as well as anything else that we're up to, and just generally, you can come hang out with the rest of the community there. It's a good time on the Discord. Speaking of which, a shout out to our community there and everyone who follows. Oh, and the Blue Ski. Don't forget the Blue Ski. Shout out to our community on the Discord and everyone who follows. You guys are a wonderful audience. We appreciate you. If we do anything particularly entertaining or noteworthy, feel free to clip it and share it on the internet. Just make sure to also hashtag it with MCCanary or link it back to the stream so people can find more of the good stuff we do here. And if you want to see the stream grow, you gotta let people know. I appreciate that people have been talking about the stream, and I encourage you guys to do it more. It does help us out, and it's just a cool thing that you guys can do. And I appreciate that you guys are willing to do it. So go check everybody out. No, that's not what I want to say. So if you want to see the stream grow, you gotta let people know. Tell people about the stream. I won't. And a huge thank you to Moat Trimp and all of our supporters on Patreon and Twitch. Your generosity allows us to continue to expand the stream as well as take on more projects. And the stream would not be made possible without viewers like you. We thank you. If you want to see your name added to this list, as well as a couple of the benefits you could get, you could always subscribe directly on Twitch, or you can check out the Patreon page here. It'll show you everything that you can get, and any amount is always appreciated. Once again, thank you. Thank you to Mods, do a wonderful job holding back the robot army and preventing them becoming famous. And thank you for everybody for coming and hanging out. I had a good time. I did. I appreciate it. It was fun. I'm relaxed. The boy is getting antsy. What his deal is. So, I'll get you through housekeeping and get you on your way. Go check out the rest of our friends in Goblin Entertainment here. That link tree has links to everyone's channels and everything they've done and they've been up to, and my own stuff here. I have my own link tree that has everything that I post to, as well as a VOD channel for has everything that I post to. And you should go check everybody out in Goblin Entertainment. I don't do that no more. It's just too much talk. Buddy? Dude, what's up? Alright, let's go say hi to Brad. He's playing the OG Monster Hunter. So we'll go say hi to him. He's a good guy. He's the original voice actor for Brad Vickers for the PlayStation 1, Resident Evil 3. He's a good guy, so everybody go say hi to him. Otherwise, have a wonderful evening. Take it easy. And remember, you just gotta draw the dinosaur. You just gotta draw the dinosaur. It's like easiest part. He is drawing eating the little guy. He does seem alarmed by it. This here little guy. This here little guy. He's I think a Pachycephalo